Hello, and welcome to Online Appliance Tech. Today we're going over the service manual for a GE washer. We'll be working on the UltraFresh front load washer. If you're getting an error code 3 or your washer is not rotating to the right or left, this could be your issue. I'm going to show you how to properly use the service manual to diagnose this correctly. Let's get started. First, you'll want to pull up any stored error codes. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is hold the start button for about 10 seconds. Once the LEDs light up and the display activates, press the start pad again to scroll to the next fault code. If your washer is not rotating left or right, or it's not spinning at all, most of the time it will display error code 3. Error code 3 indicates a locked rotor. What that means is the control is not receiving a feedback signal from the inverter control board, not the main control board. In simple terms, the washer is trying to turn, but it's getting no feedback signal from the hall sensor inside the motor. The first thing you want to do is open the door and spin the inner tub by hand. Make sure it spins freely. If it doesn't spin freely, there's likely something physically locking up the tub. That will trigger this error because the motor is trying to rotate but cannot. Next, remove the rear panel and make sure the motor pulley isn't locked up and nothing is stuck between the tub and drum. You can also put the washer into service mode and run test 14 to see if it spins. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. Verify that the hall sensor is properly connected. On this model, the hall sensor is integrated into the motor itself. If the basket spins freely for about 15 seconds during the test, the hall sensor is most likely not the cause. In my experience, I've rarely had to replace a hall sensor on one of these washers. You'll also want to measure resistance across each motor winding. I'll explain how to do that shortly. If the thermal cutout, or TCO, is tripped, that means the motor overheated. It will open the circuit, and once it cools down, it may try to start again. This usually happens when something is preventing the drum from turning. If everything checks out and the unit still doesn't spin, it's most likely the inverter board. I would say about 99% of the time, that's the problem. But it's always good to go through the full diagnostic process first. Now let's go over inverter diagnostics. If you need appliance parts for a repair, Online Appliance Parts Hub offers OEM compatible components for major brands with fast US shipping. Check the description below for the link. The inverter receives 120 volts from the main control board. If you're getting 120 volts from the main board, then your main board is good. You can check this at connector J506, pin 2, which is the white wire, and pin 3, which is the black wire. The inverter converts that 120 volts AC into a variable DC voltage that powers the motor. To check the motor windings, it's best to test directly at the stator, which is the motor itself. All three windings should read approximately 14.2 ohms, and they should be evenly balanced. If one winding reads significantly higher, for example 30,000 ohms, that indicates excessive resistance and a defective motor. If your readings are 14.1 or 14.3, but all three are consistent, that's fine. They just need to match closely. You can test this at the harness connector. If you get unusual readings, disconnect the harness and test directly at the motor. If one winding reads drastically different from the others, that motor is defective. Once you verify voltage at the main board, check voltage at the inverter. You should also see 120 volts there. If you have voltage at both locations, that confirms the main board is functioning and there are no broken wires between the boards. You can also perform a continuity check from point A to point B, but always make sure the unit is unplugged before performing continuity tests. Now let's put the washer into service mode.
To place in diagnostic mode, you'll hold the start button down, start pause, and you can turn to the left or right 8 clicks. So as you can see here, I went counterclockwise, 8 clicks, so let go of the start button and we're in diagnostic mode. So to go through your test, you can just rotate clockwise and press start to activate the test. So test mode 6 actually activates the inlet valve for one of the valves. So this is just an example. So here in this video, I would actually pull up the error codes first and then go to the test for that error. So you'll press the start button to stop the test and just rotate the knob to the next test you would like to test and hit the start button. And basically you'll just go back and forth with the start to activate and deactivate. Since we have water in the tub, now I'm going to show you, just for one more example, we're going to press the start button to stop this test, and we're going to rotate the knob to test 12, and then we'll press the start button, and this will activate the drain pump. And at this point, all the water will be pumped out of the machine. So now let's go to test mode 26. This will activate the spin cycle, so this will amp up the inner tub at a high speed. So hit the start button, and like I stated earlier, I will leave parts and sections of this whole video, so if you have an error code, say 6, you can just go to the part of the video instead of watching the whole video. But first thing first, we do have to pull up the error code first. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to pull up the error code. So just rotate the knob to test 1. Then you'll hit the start button, and then it'll pull up the error code. So as you can see, there's error code 18. And at this point, you can just go to the test mode, but which I'll go over here soon in this video.
Test 14 is the spin test. Press the start button to begin the test. The door must be closed. If the door is open, the lock LED will blink. If the washer shows the door is open even though it's closed, that indicates a bad door lock. And if the door lock fails, the motor will not spin. If the door locks and the lock LED stays on, your door switch is working properly. Once started, the unit will shift into spin mode and the door will remain locked. The unit will begin spinning and will automatically time out within about 4 minutes. Make sure the tub is empty before performing this test. When the spin cycle ends and the speed reaches 0, the door will unlock. At that point, you can press the power button to exit service mode. If you have 120 volts at the main board and at the inverter, and your motor windings are all evenly reading around 14.2 ohms, then your motor is good. If the motor is not physically locked and there is still no feedback signal from the hall sensor, the inverter board is almost certainly defective. Again, in my experience, about 99% of the time with this issue, it's the inverter board. If you need this part, check the link in the description below. We do receive a small percentage from each sale, and it helps support the channel. Now let me show you where the mini service manual is located. To access it, remove the screws securing the control panel. Slide out the detergent dispenser by pressing the locking tab. Pull the panel forward. Behind it, you'll find the mini service manual stored inside the unit. You can use that manual along with this video to diagnose error codes and spin issues. So if you're getting error code 3 or your tub is not rotating back and forth or spinning during the cycle, this diagnostic process should guide you to the correct repair. I hope this video was helpful. If you found value in it, please hit the like button so I know to make more videos like this. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.